Ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Season 5 of The Spotlight continues right now. This week on The Spotlight. Confirmed.
On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47, and this nomination is confirmed.
A historic vote of 53 to 47 from the Senate confirms Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson as the 116th Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court and the first Black woman to serve on the court, fulfilling a campaign promise made by President Biden. Why did most Republicans leave the Senate floor after the confirmation of Judge Jackson? And reactions to the confirmation. Plus, in this week's season premiere of Guiding Spotlight, entrepreneur Maurice Jenkins shares the insights and the steps of entrepreneurship and the do's and don'ts of starting a business or company. Plus, Dr. Truett Vaigneur on his latest children's book that highlights a little boy in a wheelchair with a fun and colorful story, and exclusively opens up on the attacks against him from social media. Plus, Vega is back as this week's special guest co-host. And Sha'Quilla Roberts and Georgetta Buggs are this week's guest co-hosts. Welcome to The Spotlight Party with David Martinez, Crystal Askew, Connie Diallo, and Johnny Jameson. Now, let's get it on and get this Spotlight Party started.
Hello. Welcome to the Spotlight. 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 Here. So Crystal is currently working on obtaining her master's degree, and hopefully will be back soon with us at the table. So joining us as guest co-hosts, we're thrilled to have back Vega on with us.
Hey!
And also joining us as guest co-host, we're also glad to welcome the lovely Sha'Quilla Roberts and the lovely Georgetta Buggs with us. Yes. How y'all doing, y'all?
Good.
Amazing.
Shall we get into it?
Let's get into it. Come on.
So let us begin the show like usual with some good news here, okay? Because according to the new jobs report, America added 431,000 jobs in the United States in March 2022 alone. And it's really good news or something, I mean, everything's being good, build up here, more jobs being added,
The job rate went down to 3.6%, so if it keeps going down, everybody will have, a job.
So it kind of remained steady ever since here, but that's a good thing to start. But not only that, but there's more good news we want to share to start off our show. But a new chapter in American history took place last month, April 7th, 2022. Remember this date as you take a look at this.
On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47, and this nomination is confirmed.
Yeah, well, so after that, what do you all think of this? Is history made here?
Oh my goodness. First of all, Vice President Kamala Harris had the biggest smile on her face. Like she was cheesing like somebody's mama. It was the best thing ever. But of course history was made. Actually, we had three Republican crossovers. Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins were the final votes.
Yeah, we should give a kudos to Mitt Romney for showing a lot of respect to the confirmed justice, because every Republican that was in that room just walked off. Like, what on earth? Like, could someone explain that?
You
They
definitely
literally
can't.
walked off. They just didn't care.
At least it wasn't like I read that the most controversial vote was 98-0.
Wow. That's crazy.
At least it was not that.
And getting to her, she was like 47 nays. Like, I'm like, wow, everybody was going against what they were all voting for, and then they all walked out like rude.
Obviously those 47 nays don't even know what they're talking about because he probably didn't buy a horse in a long time.
But she proved her point because she was the most qualified person, not woman, not, person. So I think that is the most phenomenal thing for us to witness and, just be able to see what a person like that could be capable of.
She definitely stood her ground because they asked her a lot of ridiculous questions.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of questions.
Questions they probably wouldn't have asked someone else, but that's another story for another day.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, but listen, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson spoke at a White House event the day after the Senate confirmed her to be Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, and here's what she said in her speech. Take a look.
Those who've provided invaluable support to me professionally in the decades prior to my nomination, and the many, many friends I have been privileged to make throughout my life and career. Now, I know that everyone who finds professional success thinks they have the best mentors, but I truly do. I had 3 inspiring jurists for whom I had the privilege of clerking. And for all of the talk of this historic nomination and now confirmation, I think of them as the true path breakers. I am just the very lucky first inheritor of the dream of liberty and justice for all. But no one does this on their own. The path was cleared for me so that I might rise to this occasion. I do so now while bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave.
The dream and hope of the slave. What do you think?
Oh my goodness, that was a deep statement. Because she really is the wildest dreams of Sojourner Truth and everybody. I can't even go down the names right now. Like, she's really the wildest dreams of the people that
Have sacrificed.
Yes, ran and helped their children, help other people get over those rivers and through those bushes. It's amazing. I'm so excited.
Well, listen, the way she did it, because obviously people need to understand the truth. And obviously she was trying to give out the truth to those, especially the truth to, I'd say, in my opinion, Fox News host Harris Faulkner, who claimed that nominating a black woman to the Supreme Court is an act of discrimination when how is that an act of discrimination when you're
What?
How is that an act of discrimination when President Biden is creating opportunities for every person of color? Like, what on earth here?
Act of discrimination. Now that's the first time I heard that.
Listen,
Mess.
listen. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but obviously, I'm going to just give this lesson to that Fox News host that said that. She needs to take some good lessons, hard lessons from the following people: from Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is just now the incoming U.S. Supreme Court, President Barack Obama, President Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris.
Hello.
Take some lessons from her, and then you'll see what they're referring to. Smart, kind, and wise. We'll be back.
Still ahead, Oscar's crime scene. Oscar's lead producer, Will Packer, gives his exclusive behind-the-scenes blow-by-blow after Will Smith's assault towards Chris Rock. how he claims the LAPD stepped in and gave Chris Rock options.
It has been explained to me that there was a conversation that I was not a part of to ask him to voluntarily leave.
But with conflicting reports of the incident, are we losing the plot of what really happened? And is Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, behind all this? Still to come, entrepreneur Maurice Jenkins is guiding the spotlight on the insights and the steps of entrepreneurship and the do's and don'ts of starting a business. And Dr. Truett Vaigneur on his latest children's book that highlights a little boy in a wheelchair with a fun and colorful story.
So welcome back. I just want to bring up something because this just came in here that where there's breaking news about where we talked about Brittany Griner here, where the U.S. Department confirmed on May 2nd that it has, or May 3rd, that it had reclassified Brittany Griner as being wrongfully detained by the Russian government, and it was first reported by ESPN.com here, and they say that she's determined to have a hearing by May 19th, or like to be detained in Russia till May 19th. I know it said May 18th. I know I misspoke. I meant May 19th here. So just want to let everyone know in case anyone wants to continue to criticize me, but this is the fact here, and I know I did not mean to misspeak, but May 19th is the case, and obviously we will just keep you updated once we have more details on that and as the day approaches here. So that's basically it. So on our last show, we discussed the moment of the incident between Will Smith and Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards, and the fallout continues to grow over Will Smith over hitting and slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. This hot topic has been in a constant loop for some time now because this story has continued to resonate with more developing updates. Everyone is upset over this, but not Chris Rock. So Oscars producer Will Krebs set the scene backstage in an interview exclusively with ABC News, claiming that the Los Angeles Police Department, the LAPD, was on the scene and there was a lot of back and forth of what to do next. Take a look at this.
They were about to physically remove Will Smith, and I had not been a part of those conversations. And so I immediately went to the Academy leadership that was on site, and I said, Chris Rock doesn't want that. I said, Rock has made it clear that he does not want to make a bad situation worse. It has been explained to me that there was a conversation that I was not a part of to ask him to voluntarily leave.
So Chris Rock said to the LAPD that he did not want Will Smith arrested nor press any charges against him. However, Oscars co-host Wanda Sykes couldn't believe that Smith escorted her out here. And I mentioned this on the last show, so whose side are you on?
It's so crazy because when I was watching that at home, well, first of all, I was watching it, I was actually getting a haircut, and then when I saw the news about Will Smith went up and slapped Chris Rock, at first I thought it was staged, but then I'm like, why would they do that on a very prestigious show like the Oscars? That's one. So then as I was watching, I found out that it wasn't staged, that Chris Rock said some things, whether it was a joke or not, and Will Smith got into his emotional feelings, and he decided to stand up and slap him. And I was a little bit like, there's certain things that you can and cannot do. Comedians are comedians. They're meant to tell jokes and say a lot of things. I mean, I cannot tell you the countless things that comedians have said, and it has been under the table. But at the same time, I don't think when you're in a certain environment like the Oscars, you have to carry yourself with some class. And to stand up and to slap somebody it was very distasteful. I mean, at first I'm like, we thought that we was at, BET or anywhere else that a reality show, because this is crazy. What are we doing? But I mean, I'm not gonna say that I don't feel bad for Will Smith, because he is probably going through a lot of things emotionally and personally at home.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I was like, how can they allow somebody who to stand up, get up, and then slap him, and then we're just gonna like wear the security? Because I mean, let it behold, if it was somebody else, I mean, hands would have been thrown.
Well,
But since Chris Rock and him, I guess they're friends, and I think they understand that he didn't want to push charges. I mean, you know what? If I'm friends with somebody and those things happen, I wouldn't press charges either.
But did you think that Jada Pinkett Smith was playing a puppet towards Will Smith here?
I do think so too. I mean, she didn't stand up for her husband
at all. But this is also a conversation about men and mental. I don't want to say instability. I can't really think of like what the words are right now. But also a person that I grew up watching, 30 years of my whole life, like watching him be perfect, watching Will Smith be Will Smith, and not showing us that he actually has pain. And all of a sudden, his wife has this table where she airs everything out, and something in the marriage happens, and now the whole world knows, and he still has no time to, let that set in himself. Now, how does that play on his mental, and how does that play on like reading the comments on social media and stuff like that, the news? You have people like, I don't know how many comedians have made jokes about the past, his past, anything, but a lot of that actually plays a part into what happened, because he got a comment from Chris and then snapped ultimentally.
Yeah. You have anything you want to add quickly?
Yeah, but we're running out of.
Yeah, I know. Because listen, I quickly want to bring up that Chris Rock's mom addressed her son's incident with Will Smith at the Oscars exclusively, and how she wants things ironed out. Take a look and listen.
As a mother, seeing your child going through something, even at his older age, how did that affect you?
Well, I told someone when Will slapped Chris, he slapped all of us, but he really slapped me.
Why do you say that?
Because when you hurt my child, you hurt me.
Do you know Will personally? Have you ever met him before?
I have never met him. He and Tony worked together on All of Us.
Yeah.
For a while, but I've never met him.
If you were able to have a conversation with Will, what would you tell him?
Oh my God, I have no idea what I would say other than, what in the world were you thinking? Because you did a slap, but so many things could have happened from that. Chris could have stepped back and fallen. You really could have gotten taken out in handcuffs. So what was, you didn't think. You reacted to your wife's giving you the side eye, and you went up and you made her day, because she was bowled over laughing when it happened.
So you were watching from home, just like all of us, and did you think that it was staged?
I thought it was at first, until he started with the obscenities.
And what were you able to do just from a distance at home?
You can't do anything. There's nothing you can do. I couldn't reach out to him at that point. It was nothing to do. And that's a hard thing for a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter how old your child is,
No matter how old they are, they're still your babies.
Yeah. And obviously the Academy has now suspended Will Smith from coming to the Oscars, for a number of years.
What does that mean? You don't even go every year.
Yeah, because at one point the Smiths were boycotting the Oscars, and now they returned, for that award that he did win.
They boycotted a year they weren't even invited.
Oh, wow.
So it's all kind of funny.
So you don't think it was a true punishment?
Oh, no.
Do you think his award should have been taken away?
I wouldn't take his award away, and I don't see any good way they could have taken him out without disrupting. So I'm really, really proud of the way Chris handled it. I'm really sad because Chris was so happy to be given the award to Questlove for his Oscar, and he didn't even no one heard his speech. No one was able to just be in the moment, because everybody was just sitting there like, what just happened?
It's disappointing, to say the least, to see a mother just see that in front of the world, and you see the pain and the heartache that she has. And you've asked earlier, what side do I take? I wouldn't say I take a side. I see both. I sympathize with Chris and with Will, because with Will, you saw it wasn't really about the joke, in a sense. it was something that was built up, and he just snapped. And with Chris, it's embarrassing. I mean, you know, but this was a long line, I think, of, with Chris and with Will, something happened, I think in like the 80s or like the early 90s between them, and it just never got resolved.
So
And
you're
I
saying
think
that it was like, because they was, so you're saying that it was something that was already
it was built up.
Okay.
Yes, it was something that was built up, and I don't think, you know, I don't want to put the blame all on Jada either, because at the end of the day, Will Smith, and you can agree or disagree, but Will Smith is a grown man, and I wouldn't put the 100% blame on her.
And at the end of the day, we're going to take an American break and come right back here, okay? Welcome back. Well, on May 3rd at the Hollywood Bowl, comedian Dave Chappelle was tackled on stage by an audience member during the Netflix's Jokers Fest-a-thon, wherever that fest was here. But, you know, it was, what was it? Netflix is a joke fest. Yeah, that's it. But he was the latest performer who had dealt with someone storming on stage to attack him, but luckily Dave Chappelle sustained no injuries, and Chris Rock, whom we've just talked about, just performed at the Hollywood Bowl that day or earlier that night, came on for a quick encore presentation and said this. Take a look. Here.
Was that Will Smith?
Is there like a petition that says anybody that says something disrespectful, just charge at them? Because it's like now everybody's getting a little bit too comfortable on getting on stage and just going on to the celebrity and attacking them, because this is one of the reasons why fans and people who are supporting whoever they're supporting, that security is very aggressive. And some people don't know their boundaries. You know, I follow like certain celebrities, but there's specific people that you don't even know they're all there, and then they wonder like, why are their security so aggressive? Why are they disrespectful? But it's because of these things that happens that people don't know how to act. They don't know. And on top of that, when something happens like that, that's why securities, they get docked for that, and then they lose their job.
Well, that was kind of nipped in the bud pretty easily. You saw that man's arm? I can't even do that.
Yeah.
Listen, I had to get that laugh on because that was funny what Chris Rock had said. But Jesse, you already answered that question of like, what on earth is going on in our society?
People are too comfortable now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? If there's no responsibility put on the people that are actually doing it, people are going to feel like, oh, I can go up and disrespect an artist or an actor or whoever and do it. Because I know I'll probably just get a slap on the wrist, some jail time, you know. I could bail out.
That man lost 8 of 9 of his lives that night. Have you seen the picture?
And I feel like they're going to be a little bit more aggressive with their artists.
They'll probably beef up on security.
Because like now, I just think that this is one of the reasons why we can't have nice things and why artists cannot take nice selfies with their fans. Because of those reasons, because nobody know how to act in a nice, proper setting where they want to, if they don't like something, you walk up and you get out.
But what's going on? They don't have metal detectors through, or is it like too many people?
That whole thing looked plastic. Have you seen the gun knife?
No, I didn't, but I heard that he had it.
Yes.
I mean, what was he going to do with it?
He was going to take that and go to break and be right back.
Okay. If you ever want to know the proper steps and guides to being a successful entrepreneur, Maurice Jenkins is educating everyone on how it's done and what not to do as an entrepreneur. Maurice Jenkins is breaking it all down in this week's season premiere of Guiding Spotlight. Next.
In this week's Guiding Spotlight, we're going to shine some light and take a closer look at what it really means to be an entrepreneur. Now, an entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses or taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. Of course, anyone can be or want to have and own one or more businesses, but probably don't know some of the steps to get there. Well, one entrepreneur has the guidance and the lessons to become a successful entrepreneur without any trouble at all, and we're glad to welcome him to the spotlight to break it all down carefully. So please welcome entrepreneur, founder, and owner of Mugger's Marrow, Maurice Jenkins.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Yes, we're glad to have you on. So, Maurice,
yes.
I want to start out with the business here, because obviously you are the founder and CEO of Mugger's Marrow that you launched in November 2015 here.
Correct.
Yes, and you have discovered some grilling sauces which you brought here. So I think we ought to taste some of this in just a moment. But just tell us, like, what was the inspiration of you creating this?
Well, throughout my adult life, I've been a grilling enthusiast. So I'm typically that guy that goes to, let's say if you're hosting a cookout, I'm the guy that comes through and takes over your grill and feeds everybody. And what I would used to do is take your standard supermarket sauce and doctor it up, add my own little spin on it, and from that, one day I happened to look at the ingredients on the label, and I realized there's a lot of bad stuff in there. I have a little bit of a chemistry background from my days in high school, so I recognized a lot of the words, and I realized that had no business going in your body. So I wanted a healthier alternative with simple ingredients that did not compromise on taste. So I started off with agave, garlic, and fruit as my base, and I built a recipe around it. And to test out my theory, there was a fruit that I was using at the time that was out of season, so I substituted a different fruit. And I made a small batch for some smoked baby back ribs that I made for a colleague's gathering. Brought them over there, and it was her father-in-law who really loved the sauce, older gentleman.
Yes.
And you know, the old folks, they'll let you know when something is terrible, right?
I think we ought to try out these sauces. So just tell us what you brought here with these sauces.
Sure. The spicy orange has a smokiness to resemble traditional sauce. The smokiness comes from a combination of cayenne, paprika, and chipotle. Pineapple jalapeno is a nice balance between sweet and spicy. It starts off sweet, then it's got the heat on the back end.
That's not for me.
Then this is definitely not for you then, David. The mango habanero, this one really brings legit heat. It's like a lingering heat, but it boasts a lot of flavor. It's not really designed to hurt anyone. There's plenty of stuff out there, let's say if you want to hurt yourself, but we're not about that here. We
Listen,
emphasize
don't
flavor.
get 911 over here, okay?
Well, you just make sure you stay away from that.
Yeah, well, which one of those four is not spicy?
The agave garlic on the end has lots of flavor when you heat.
Yeah, let me try a taste of that if you don't mind here.
Not at all.
Yeah. Thank you. So while I'm doing that, just continue tell us more about this here.
It's a flexible organic condiment with no granulated sugar in the product. It's a base of agave, garlic, and fruit, along with an international blend of dry ingredients to make it sweet and savory, with a bit of a spicy kick in most instances. So I just gave you a rundown of the different flavors, and they're.
What specific foods can you put the sauces on, like examples?
That's a great question because there's really no wrong answer to that. They work nicely with any protein. My vegetarian customers love them as well. They're vegan friendly. There's no animal product in this.
Okay.
They're low in calories, sodium, and sugar. You can pronounce every ingredient on the label. I've had them used in dips, nachos, pizza toppings, sandwich breads, and they make a great vinaigrette for salad.
Wow. Yeah, you got taste. You got a taste.
Have at it.
You know you love your seasoning.
I love my sauces.
You love your
sauces. They spicy for me.
You know, you try first.
As the pregnant lady on the show, this baby got me in a chokehold. I'm hungry.
Ooh, I smell that seasoning. I love it. I know it's gonna taste good.
Which one is your favorite sauce?
These are all mine, so you know I love them all equally.
Oh, okay.
And I like to use them interchangeably.
Okay. I will definitely be buying this.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, well, while they're sipping on that, I just want to briefly discuss about, because, you know, what people should learn from you with entrepreneurship, Maurice, here, because, you know, obviously, you know, because there's something about where I found where that as of last year, there were 32.5 million small businesses in the United States here, and according to the American Express's 2019 of women-owned businesses report, the number of women-owned business grew from 21% between 2014 and 2019 compared to 9% business in growth overall. So, I mean, what's your response on that here? And do you think with entrepreneurship, where does it go in the future here, basically?
Well, I definitely have noticed an upward trend. I mean, that's just based on my own personal experience.
Yeah.
Because entrepreneurs, we tend to network a lot. You know, we get together at functions and exchange ideas. Perhaps there's some opportunities to collaborate on certain projects and what have you. So I definitely feel that especially with the people of color, that that people are becoming more and more involved with entrepreneurship.
Right.
And I feel that's a great thing. Because I just think that instinctively we just know that there's something for us out there that, you know, that's going to be outside of a 9-to-5. No disrespect to anyone that has a 9-to-5 career or anything like that, of course, but for those of us who just feel that they have a certain passion for something and they want to turn it into a business, it's just something that you just have to do because there's this little voice inside of you that just won't shut up. It won't.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna push you and you know, motivate you to get it going. And maybe you want to ask a bunch of questions, and which is always great before you get started with your business.
But how can you tell what questions are right? Because that's the part where people don't seem to understand here.
Well, that's there's a learning curve to that, David. I mean, you know, you're not going to know. I certainly didn't know anything about packaging and labeling and things of that nature when I first started. So what you do is you try to find people that are in your industry, especially those that have been established for a while. And you reach out to them and just ask the questions that need to be asked. You ask them how did they get their start, you know, what obstacles they may have come across in building their business, because they had them. Everyone has had them. I mean, that's no secret.
Yeah, and they say that there's like 4 types of entrepreneurs and 7 characteristics of entrepreneurs, where the 4 types are small business, scale startup, large company, and social, and the 7 characteristics are versatile, resilient, flexible, money savvy, business smart, focused, and communicators. Is there anything that should be added to this list, or like in your view, or what, like basically between the types and the characteristics?
Well, with the characteristics that you listed, I definitely feel that some sort of emphasis needs to be placed on each one of those characteristics. You may be stronger in one characteristic than another, and that's certainly going to happen just simply because we're human. And but then, as you progress, you definitely want to surround yourself with people that may have strength in the characteristics that you may lack, and you know, just build your business with that.
Yes. So, you know, I'm glad that we got to taste this, but there's really more to this here on this topic for sure. So would you mind just sticking around with us?
Absolutely.
For sure? Yeah, because there's a lot to discuss, because there's a lot to cover on this. So Maurice Jenkins is sticking around with us, so we'll be right back, y'all. Okay, so we are back with entrepreneur, founder, and owner of Muggers Marrow, Maurice Jenkins. And Maurice, I wanted you to weigh in a couple of topics, because I know we want you to stick around on here, because, you know, we want entrepreneurs to understand the difference and what we're dealing with here, because folks should be mindful of what's happening in the future. For example, Dana Chanel, between around 2020 and 2021, spoke out on scamming business owners and had been sued by Pennsylvania State Attorney General Josh Sha'Quilla. Here's what she said about it alongside with her husband, Prince Donald. Take a look.
We first want to thank you so much for your patience. I'm afraid our silence has come off as some type of admission of guilt, when it has always been our desire to be an example to Black business owners on how to deal with business discrepancies with professionalism and diplomacy.
We are currently dealing with the civil lawsuit and deny any and all claims that have been made. We have the best legal team in the country fighting to defend us. But please know that we take all consumer matters very seriously. And to all of our supporters and customers, I'm asking that you stand at this time, acknowledge and vouch for the fact that we have positively impacted your lives. And also have confidence in the fact that you can patronize our businesses and receive quality service.
With that being said, we also wanted to bring forth another solution to our community, the Black Business Review Board. We are actively vetting professional men and women to not just fight for the entrepreneur, but fight for the consumer so that we can create a safe place for commerce. So we can internally ensure that we're offering resources for the best business practices. Now let's get back to creating freedom, security, and financial stability for our community.
Now, Dana Chanel has publicly denied all the slew of scamming allegations shared on an Instagram account dedicated to her exposure of alleged scams here. So, what lessons should this woman need here? Because obviously, we're still dealing with a lot of people scamming other folks in some ways here, and it's really just ridiculous. Like, what do you have to say on that, Maurice?
I don't know the details of that case per se, but I mean, what I'll say just from my personal practice is that you have to set a standard for how you're going to treat your customers, and you have to adhere to that standard, whatever that standard is. You know, with me, if there's ever an issue, my customers can reach out to me directly. You know, the biggest problem I'll have sometimes is, let's say if I'm shipping something to a customer out in Vegas or something like that, then there'll be an issue with the jar. It will get, as much as I try to insulate these jars, because you see that glass, as much as I try to insulate them and protect them, sometimes they'll break in transit. The customer lets me know, I replace it immediately, no additional charge or anything like that, and it's settled. But you know, if there's a remedy for a mistake that's made, be it by you or someone in the process, in a transition of your product getting from you to your customer, just fix it.
I hate to tell you, but there is no fixing this. Between the two of them, they have 3 companies that are stealing money from people. The husband tried to take $4,500.
Yeah. Well, why would they do something like that? Like, what?
$4,500
out of a bank. Ooh, one of the consumers. She has two consumers that alleged $1,800 and $1,600 that you tried to take away from them.
Wow.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess, and I don't understand why would some people do that, especially because not just recently, I've made a tweet here about when it comes to doing business. Allow me to share this with you because I'm like, what is the purpose? And I'm pretty sure Jesse related to this as well, where like, what is the purpose of you saying DM me when most of you don't even look at your messages, or you look at them but don't respond back at all when they follow up? Like, that's just unprofessional and rude and disrespectful. Like, they're not using their common sense at first here, you know? And it's just plain ridiculous. Who wants to do business with someone both professionally and personally when you don't even read or respond back to your messages sent by one or more individuals or groups? I mean, anyone want to respond to that? Because this has been really an issue that's been going on not for a while, but for like, I'd say years within our own generations here, you know? I mean,
Like, what is the question that you're asking? Like,
Basically, why are people just doing that? Like, why are they saying DM me for when it's a business person or in person sending them a DM, but they don't respond back after like a week or two later here?
I just think because they can. And I mean, I don't know if there's any like.
But do you find
motives
it's
behind
unprofessional? That's the question. Another question.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's unprofessional. I don't understand the reasoning that they're just doing it.
Well,
I would say that it's unprofessional if they are having a conversation and it's leading up to something and they don't follow through. Then I would say that is unprofessional. But I wouldn't say like if I was a celebrity and I was like, oh, DM me, like I don't see that as unprofessional.
Yeah, but when that person says they say DM me and they DM you, you don't hear back from them at all after a certain amount of time, basically.
I think it depends on their interest. Like Georgetta says, sometimes like they'll say, DM me and we'll talk, or like let's do business. Like I have many times that I'll go to an event and then, you know, we'll cross paths and they'll say, oh yeah, let's do business, let's work, we'll work. And I kind of understand like with your frustrations. And then the next thing you know, I think the expectation. I think when you try, as you get older, not to have the expectation of someone saying that they're going to do something when they're not going to do it, your gut will tell you. And that happens a lot when you go into Los Angeles, too. When you go to LA, there's a lot of people who are going to say, yeah, we'll work, and then you never hear from them. But in New York, it's very hit or miss. You know, it depends on the person. So I would say don't go with expectations, you know, with people, because sometimes you will know. Your energy will tell you.
Yeah, Maurice, what do you have to say about this, even on the business level? Because obviously it is still happening in today's generation. Like, what do you think that people should do to avoid all the conflicts and all the scams and as all the frauds, like the Kevin O'Leary fraud that was dealt with, where, well, I mean, your response?
You certainly have to ask the right questions, you know, going into the situation, just to get a proper feel of what that other person's intentions are. I mean, it's kind of like you're dating, you know. Same premise. If you're really trying to get to know that person, or if you're trying to really wanting to do business with that person, you have to ask certain questions, and based on their responses, you know how to proceed going forward.
Are your social media DMs open?
Yes.
Oh, that's good to know.
But that really is the part that really needs to be fixed. Is like, if you're going to DM someone on a business level, please respond back in a timely manner, because that person is interested in whatever products you're trying to sell, or otherwise they will just never come back to you ever again, or not go to you at all, basically, you know? Because, you know, it's crazy, but you know.
Dana Chanel ghosting them people after stealing their money is a mess.
Oh, that's the worst. I mean, I've had those type of situations. You know, I try to call them, unknown numbers.
Or you try to email.
And they never respond. And it's very unprofessional when you're trying to sell something and then they're trying to, like you said, steal people's money, and the next thing you know, you don't hear from them. So it's like you need to make sure you get all your ducks in a row before you do business with them, if you feel that they are legit or not.
And do your research.
Yeah. Well, listen. We'll just have to deal the best we can, but this conversation could go on forever. And Maurice, we wish you could be here longer, but you know.
Thank you,
we gotta thank you, and thank you for
I love the sauces. It's still be in my butt though with the sauce.
Mango habanero.
Our special thanks to entrepreneur, founder, and owner of Mugger's Marrow, Maurice Jenkins, for joining us. Check out his website for more details about Mugger's Marrow. Here is on the bottom of your screen. You'll see it right there. We'll be right back, y'all.
This has been Guiding Spotlight. We'll be right back.
While continuing to serve and give back to the disabled community, the doc has been recognized as an author, TV host, writer, filmmaker, etc., etc. His latest children's books he wrote last year entails a young little boy in a wheelchair who has a fun and colorful story. So please welcome back to the spotlight the author of Flowers, Horses, Kittens, And it's flowers, ballet, horses, and a kid.
Come on, let's get it right
Dr.
now.
Truett Vaigneur. Our own version of Dr. Phil, Dr. Truett Vaigneur.
I can't live up to that introduction.
So, listen.
Especially, forget about the mistake. I love the et cetera part.
Because you are one of our own. You're the only doctor that's our Dr. Phil, basically.
Right.
You know?
I'll take it.
Yes. Yes. So listen, Doc, in your book, you talk about a lot of things in your book. Flowers, horses, kitten, ballet, a boy in a wheelchair. I'm doing that thing where it's no sleep, butts, club,
Lady Gaga.
another club, Lady Gaga. But what was your overall idea and message when you wrote this book last year about a boy in a wheelchair with a colorful story, and why Wesley?
Why? Well,
why name Wesley?
Why the name? Oh, wow!
Yes.
That's the first time I've been asked that question. We work on this very set, which is where my show is also filmed with a great photographer. My show, to answer his question inadvertently, I have a show here, Disabilities Redefined with Dr. Vaigneur, and we do a lot of fashion shows here. And the photographer is named Wesley. So, yeah, so I just named him Wesley. That was it. The purpose of the book is normalization. It's very, you know, this little boy Wesley is he is a cerebral palsy, but that's not the focus. The focus is that he is allergic to flowers. His mother is a fashion model. He's allergic to flowers, so his mother one day comes in with a hat that is made of artificial flowers, and he realizes that he can touch artificial flowers. So he then starts making hats inspired by her hat and becomes a great hat designer, all before reaching first grade. So,
yeah. Go for it.
Yes.
So normalization really is there.
Yes. So how would you describe the normalization with what's going on currently with the disabled community after, like, with writing this book? You know, it's like you're dealing with a lot of normalization. Boy in the wheelchair, flowers here, but what about in terms of the other things that you mentioned, like ballet, horses, and a kitten?
Well, that's just his life's trajectory. Like his dad is a horseback rider. Okay, flowers obviously has a part in it. His sister is a ballet dancer. All kids have things in their lives. Yeah, I mean, everybody does. Every child does. Disabled or able, you know, all kids, and as well as it should be, right? There you go. So there was really, that was pretty much the message. As far as what's going on, that's a big philosophical question.
Yeah.
So much going on with the disabled population in Hollywood, in fashion, in journalism, and it's a great time, but it is a time that I think in 10 years it will be very well noted in history, especially in the media, because the disabled population they are having a voice, and as we know, that takes time. The American with Disabilities Act is out, and it is doing its job, but then again, the ADA is only a law. The American with Disabilities Act protects the disabled population from discrimination. That is a law. The disabled population has to act on that law. They have to go get work. They have to go to college and produce. So whenever I hear people say, oh, if it wasn't for the ADA, the disabled population wouldn't be where they are, that's horse. Let's use the word horse. That's horse again.
That's also dogs and cats as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because the disabled population, they are the ones doing it.
And was you able to like promote the book at some like disability organizations to get children reading?
Another very
which is
good
very
question.
important that you
People
did
get in
that.
touch with me about
That's
things. I'm
good.
really not good when it comes to social media and I mean, I'm 54. Soon will be 54 years old. So that whole generation is not my generation. You kids up here are probably pretty good when it comes to social media. So I post, and every so often, you know, someone will get in touch, like Mount Sinai, they wanted copies.
That's wonderful.
We're talking to some things right now going on that I can't talk about because it hasn't come to fruition. So do I promote myself? I'm horrible with promoting myself. But it gets out there. I mean, you know, it's under Archway, which is a division of Simon & Schuster. So it goes out there. It's in the public. Yeah.
And it gets the children reading, you know, so which is a good thing, and it's a beautiful book.
Well, it is a very good book. It's a good book for first graders.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see a movie in Tribeca.
Yes, because Ann Norberg illustrated the book, and you've worked with her on that book, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So, like, what was the connection with the establishment with the book where Ann Norberg as her illustrating the book helped, like, the connection between the two?
Well, I mean, I don't like to speak for other people, you know, whenever they're not here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to use an artist from down south. For some reason with this book, I just wanted to use an artist from down south. And so I got in touch with the Savannah College of Art and Design, and they sent me a list of illustration artists up and coming. Wow. And I went through interviews with every one of them and gave them a fair shot, and she was the one I chose.
Were the interviews hard? Like,
yes, of course, absolutely. I mean, you know, I like giving people a break. I do like to give people a break, and I am a career counselor. That's the day job. I work at the City University of New York. Love my job, counseling disabled students. Career counseling. I'm a career counselor. So in that respect, any time I can give someone a break and get their resume and get that resume up and running and give somebody a job, especially in the art field. You know, I think you are all artists up here in one capacity or another, right? Actors, models, whatever.
In our own way, yeah.
In their own, yeah. So in that respect, we know, well, I don't know anymore, but you all are in the field now. That's been years ago since I've done any of that, but it's tough. So anytime I can give someone a break and give back to the community, I like to do it.
Yeah. You touched base earlier within the Hollywood industry because, well, there's a couple points I want to bring up here, because one of them where we talked about the Oscars earlier, and I know I didn't get a chance to mention it because there was, I believe, a deaf actor that won an Oscar for his performance.
Yes, Coda. Coda.
So, like, what was your response when you saw that happen? Because obviously, it's like there's not much we're hearing about the deaf people in today's generation, but like, what's your response?
Well, yeah, absolutely, and there was just not there was also a nomination for a short,
right.
Audible,
Yes.
which was about deaf football players, which actually the director was actually on my show, and he is not deaf. He just one of his best friends is deaf, so he just wanted to chronicle and share the stories of this amazing football team who are all deaf going to in Maryland, you know, for the School of Deaf. So in that respect, there, you know, anytime you can get press. I hate to use a cliche, but when they say all press is good press, what is it, back in the 1950s Hollywood? They wanted to say any press is good press or whatever. You know, I believe that's the case within the disabled population.
Yes.
Because if you're going to get press, people will pay attention and notice you, and then your voice will be heard.
Right. Okay. And you also were working on a short film because you know, even when you're helping out with the disabled population, and you and I have talked about this backstage, where in terms of like where you've received like horrible threats on social media about that.
Can I clutch someone for support?
Yes. You know, but you're kind of working on my film based on that. So you want to tell us about that?
I'm working on a script.
Right.
I'm working on a script based on that. Yeah, listen, I am not disabled. I'll be the first one to say it. My voice does not mean half as much in the movement as those people who are disabled. If you are going to make progress within any minority group, the voices of the minority group have got to be heard. That is the way it is, and I do not have a problem with that. I have been attacked several times on social media, like, you know, who do you think you are? I've been screamed at in the street here in New York, that you can walk. Like, people see the show and then they'll see me bopping around town, and it's like, you can walk. What are you, you know? I'm like, why are you, I mean, I never said I couldn't walk. Who said that, you know? So people do have this, I guess you could say, stereotype of advocacy within the disabled population. But I will say that I do respect and appreciate all disabled people, because of their tenacity and their strength to stand up for their disabled identity, because that's usually the way it starts off with, you don't understand, I don't understand. So if I'm ever attacked for being a strong disabilities advocate and not being disabled myself, I have to step back and say, that's coming from somewhere, and let's only hope it's coming from a good place, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Yes.
there you go. So let's hope it's coming from a good place.
Yes, hope is really coming from a good place, and you are the legend that is on this good place to be heard. And you know what that show is. That's the Spotlight. Thank you, Dr. Phil, for everything. I mean, you know what I mean, Dr. Truett. So, but listen, give him a good hand here with,
Thank you so much for coming.
Special thanks to Dr. Truett Wagner. His latest children's book, Flowers, Ballet, Horses, and a Kitten. I finally got it right this time. It's a must-see read for family and friends, a book that will uplift you and motivate you. And we'll be right back, y'all. So throughout our 5th season and on our 5th year on television, we're taking a look back at some of our memories, moments, funny moments, favorite moments, etc., of the Spotlight. So this week's flashback will explain everything for one of our guest co-hosts. Take a look. Let's talk about your talk show that you're doing at M&N.
Yes.
Vega 411. Let's give him that 411 information. As of 2017, you won its first award for favorite entertainment show in public access, presented by the Uli Awards.
Yes.
Tell us that experience when that happened.
It was kind of like shocking, because to win an award, to do something that a talk show, and taking it back to, like I was saying, like always something loving Oprah Winfrey and being inspired and wanting to do my own show. It was very hard in the beginning to do it. Like, oh, I want to do a talk show, I want to interview, because I used to talk a lot. Yeah, as you see.
We all do.
This is what we love to do.
What's the point in fighting? Are we meant to be, or is it just a fantasy? Why can't you see that you're the only one for me? So just for tonight, don't speak, just hold me tight. Cause after tonight, this will be a final goodbye. And I hope you realize that everything I tried, that you never see, that he'll never be me. He'll never be me. He'll never be me. You can keep him. You can keep him. You can keep him. He'll never be me.
You want to use that mic to make us disappear as we close out?
Oh, yes, so we're going to have to disappear. So you know how the rules, guys, as I do it in my talk show. Here we go. 5, 4...
No, wait, don't you do it yet. Don't you do it yet. Before you do that, I want to say, no, I don't need that. You hold on to that. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for watching. Have a great week. Good luck. Be well, be safe, and take a little time to have fun and enjoy your time on the Spotlight. What's going on?
Wow! Oh my God, Dave! That was a surprise. I got thrown off, but that was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I love it.
Any your thoughts on that? All right, listen. Don't do any magic tricks.
No.
Out.
I'm out of pixie dust.
Good. Good.
I have to say, wow, that's been like almost 3-4 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, fall 2018 you came on, then spring 2019. I know I had mixed up the dates when you first came back to co-host. I misspoke. I don't know why do I keep misspeaking on that?
It was so much fun. I mean, that's so crazy. It's wonderful to like see yourself on a flashback on when I first came on the panel. It was so much fun, and to now co-host with Georgetta, you, all these like great entertainers on this like big table, and it's like coming full circle. So it's really, thank you so much, Dave, for really.
Well, listen, thank you, Jesse, and thank you, ladies, as well, for guest co-hosting with us. And we thank you all for watching. We want everyone to have a great week. And if you watch the video, good luck, be well, be safe, obviously. Stay healthy and strong, and take a little moment to have fun, express yourself in your voice, and enjoy the Spotlight.